All right, everybody. HD. We're out here on the old unfinished deck doing a little Saturday afternoon honeydews. Sweet T's fussing because her knives are dull. And since she was so sweet a few years ago to buy me a good knife sharpener, I said, well, let me get out here and get some knife sharpening. I learned to sharpen knives as a young boy. I used to hang around what we did growing up. These older guys, they could sharpen a knife. And I had a guy show me, I was a little boy, and we had boys back then, we all had pocket knives and stuff, traded knives and stuff like that. And he showed me how to do it. And I've always, for years and years and years, just used a stone, and I could get all my knives just razor sharp. You could shave with them, and just by fooling with them and sharpen them. And it just was a little labor intensive, and I bought these other things, other sharpeners that come with knife kits and stuff like that. And they're little rod, these dudes here like that, they'll get you by if you don't have anything else to use. So I was watching some hunting videos years ago, and they had the Work Sharp, and I'll show you here what we're working with here in a second. And I said, man, that'd be the way to go. And I use it, so I use it on periodically. I get all the knives out and sharpen them up. And I sharpen my hunting knives. I got the same two hunting knives. The first one hunting knife I've got that I've used is it's a Case XX, and I bought this dude in 1984. We were going from Camp Fuji, Japan to Korea, and I bought it for the PX on ship. And I've had that dude for however many years that is, and I keep it. From that time, I've cleaned every deer that I've got, or my son's got, or Sweet T's got. I've cleaned every deer with it, and it's a good thick blade. It's nothing fancy. I'll pan down here onto it in just a sec. Here it is right here. Nothing fancy, two-bladed knife, Case XX, but got a hair mount. That rascal will hold a edge on it, and I'll get it just razor sharp. Didn't kill anything last year, but in 2024 we killed, it was Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We all got deer, boom, boom, boom. And I did have a stone with me. I carry a stone in my backpack, and I tightened it up a little bit with that. But I cleaned 3 deer in 3 days with that. And that later on that Friday afternoon, I got 3 hogs, and I cleaned 3 hogs with that knife without ever sharpening it. I do have a buck. It's got a gut hook on it. I like this for skinning too, but I like using the gut hook for it for obvious reasons. And it holds a pretty good edge. The steel's not as thick as that Case. The Case got good thick metal on it. I'll always look for in a pocket knife or a hunting knife something made in the U.S. The United States has, in my opinion, the best steel. Germany has good steel. So if you can find a good knife still made in the U.S., I don't know how many brands are left in the U.S., or Germany, they have good steel. The Chinese steel, it's Chinese steel. Back when I was a kid, a lot of the knives, they came from Pakistan. It seemed like if they weren't made in the U.S., they were made in Pakistan. And that steel is okay, but it can't compare it to U.S. steel. So if you can find the knives made in the U.S., spend the money. It's well worth, especially your hunting knives or something like that. But let me get set up here, and I'll show you what we're working with. And let me get you set up here. All right, here's what we're working with. This is the Work Sharp Sharpener, as they say. Comes just like this. In the kit, when you buy it, it comes with 3 different belts. Comes with what is it? An 80 grit, then a 220, and then a 600. You can get them just as sharp as you can. I rarely ever use the 80 grit. It's stout. So if you had something really dull, or you wanted to sharpen a hatchet or a very, very dull that might be your best bet. I'd usually just use the 220 and the 600. The 600 will really hone it. We ordered a bunch of different belts and some of these are really fine belts. That's a 500, and where's this one here? This one was that's an 800. So you could really, I mean, you could make them just almost surgical if you spend time with it. I get them just our kitchen knives. Now I will spend a little more time with my hunting knives and my pocket knives. You know, I got just random pocket knives that I carry. I carry this one every day. It's just a Husky. It's probably Chinese made from Home Depot, but just working around the house, or this is my camp knife, so I take it to camp. This knife here, I just needed a knife one time in Kentucky, so I bought it from Ace Hardware. It holds a fairly good edge, but it's just you know, it's just a cheap Chinese knife. But I carry this a whole lot. So let me get you going. It's got different settings. It's pretty easy to work. You know, you just put your belt on, you squeeze this down and get your belt, take your belt on and off. It's got different settings. You put this up for kitchen knives and then down for pocket knives. When you're done with it, it just folds away like that, goes back in the box. Very handy. I keep it put up all the time because like I said, I just get it out, and when I'm sharpening knives, so usually I'll sharpen them all at one time. I do fillet knives. I'll get our big meat cleaver out. I'll tune it up, and I cut up a bunch of frozen salmon the other day with that. So whatever, fillet knives. And none of our knives are, you know, they're not really high-end expensive knives. This is probably the most expensive knife. It comes just because it came from IKEA, but it holds a pretty good edge on it. So just different ones. So I'll show you how I do them. It's pretty easy to do. Let me grab a bigger knife here. I'll grab this IKEA knife. Let me get my first belt on there, and I'll be back. All right, we set up here. You got two different speeds on these. This is first gear, I guess speed. Second, this is a lot slower. If you really want to put a good hard grind, you can grind. You can do scissors or whatever you want to use on it. Only thing I ever use is just for the kitchen knives and my hunting knives. So I always run it on the first speed. So you know, put your handy dandy safety glasses on. It's not that loud, so you really don't have hearing protection. What I do one swipe and one swipe. I just do it each knife 10 times on each side, and that seems to do pretty good. You know, if it's real, like I said, if it's really dull, go with the heavier grit. But none of these are very dull, because I keep them pretty clean, pretty sharp. And probably my pocket knife is the most dullest one. But I don't, like I said, I may cut rope or something, who knows, fishing or whatnot on that. But my hunting knives, they're still sharp from deer season. I haven't killed anything or cleaned anything with those, so I'll run them through a couple times just to keep them. But just show you real quick how I do it. And you have to hold your finger on there. So, but it just sets. You got a little guard right here that you just break, you know, come across just like that. It is one consistent pull. So let's show you what we got here. Yeah, just like that. You know, that's a good sharp knife. You could a tomato would be no problem with that. Matter of fact, I'll go get a tomato and show you. We'll show you. Hang on one second. Well, maybe in a minute. Do another one there. I'll do my pocket knife. I use this, like I said, I take this pocket knife everywhere I go, so it's always ready for a sharpen. So after I go all through the knives with that, with this belt here, I'll go to a much finer, finer grit. This is what did I say? This is 400. So we'll go with it, and that's about as fine as I go with it. So to change it out, you just pull this down. It slides off, and it slides off the bottom there, and then put them back on the same way. Get it. There we go. And get it in there like that. Pop it up, and then you just go back and do the same. I do the same routine 10 times on each side. Yeah, there you go. And you got a nice sharp knife and a happy wife. So try this out if you don't have one. I forget where she ordered online. I think Bass Pro and all kinds, those places have them. So I'm gonna continue on with my sharpening. Good knives, you know, invest in good quality knives, keep them sharp. This is, I don't know, I don't know if Buck's still made. It says Buck USA, so I don't know if they're still made. There's only a handful of knives still made in the US, but find you good quality knives and keep them sharp, and because ain't nothing more frustrating than trying to cut up something, especially something soft, and your knife is dull. But if you like sharpening knives, and I like sharpening knives, I was like cutting the grass. I like cutting the grass. Maybe a weird, I don't know, but I remember as a kid, I'd sit around and sharpen my knife. I kept my knives sharp all the time. And this is more fun. It's just, but if you're just sitting there, and I will, like I said, I will take my hunting knives after I use this. I will take a fine stone, and sharpen it on out, and I could shave these whiskers off with it if I wanted to, but I don't want to. So anyway, it's HD. Thank you. I'll catch you next time. All right, one more thing before we go. Here's a little bitty tomato from the garden. Let's just see how we do. You can fillet you a tomato, and this is not a freshly picked tomato, but yeah, you can fillet a tomato that thin. That's a pretty good sharp knife. So I forgot to add that in there, so later.